first video, what I've discovered, as one of the comments suggested, is the cruise control. Cruise control here is on the left, and I can set the speed to whatever I want. So I get the car up to speed, click the cruise control, and then it maintains me at that speed. And there is a button on the left which I can push up to slightly increase it or decrease it. The other big advantage is if I come up to a vehicle in front of me, the cruise control will automatically slow me down, so I maintain a certain distance on the road. After 6 months with my Kia EV Niro, I will share my experiences with you. First of all, I'll talk about winter driving. I discover a couple of faults with my Kia. I will share these with you and how they're being resolved. I'll look at the transmission losses in more detail that I covered in the first video briefly. My charging routine. I question how good is Kia customer service. And lastly, the 6 things I would most like Kia to improve. Having said all of that, I still love the car. I'm really impressed with it. This story begins with me learning how to operate the scheduled charging system for my Kia. With winter here, I wanted to prepare my Kia for a long journey. So for the first time, I now look at the scheduled charging system and how it operates. Sadly, it turns out to be a nightmare. So if I set this now to 7:30 a.m, it's saying OK. Charge management, next departure December the 5th. Well, tomorrow's 28th, so I don't know where it's getting December the 5th from. As you can clearly see, tomorrow's 27th today in November at the top. I then resorted to the manual and had to go through 2 manuals, and really neither of them helped me. As I share my 6-month experiences with you, I'm going to tell you the story in 2 parts. The main story is all about my Kia and the experiences and what I've learned. Running alongside this is the Kia EV service experience. I'll differentiate between the 2 narratives by having at the top left-hand corner some green writing whenever I talk about the service experience. This writing will have the date, the day number since the problem was highlighted to Kia, and also how long I lose my vehicle to the garage when it goes in the garage. But I ask you just to watch for this to appear so you can differentiate between the 2 narratives. Since my first video of the first 6 weeks with my Kia EV, I've been on a couple of day trips requiring top-ups, the first of which was to Liskeard, 160 miles away in each direction, roughly 3 hours drive each way. I start with a full charge and stop for a break at Exeter on the way down there and again on the way back. The charge I require on the way back is just enough to get me home, and I always prefer to keep it roughly a 20% safety margin or 50 miles in the tank. And then I can top up the tank with my home charger, which is much cheaper than anywhere else. Having failed to make any progress through the manuals and discussed it with the salesman at Clark's of Kidderminster, where I purchased my Kia. Kia Kidderminster suggested I should go to my local Kia garage at Newport to see if they could help hands-on with the problem by seeing it firsthand. So it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't seem to change. I have spoken to an agent on the phone, and he's tried to set it, and he doesn't understand why that date of the 8th. And yesterday, I was speaking to him yesterday, and it was showing the 7th of December. And he said there's something, he was setting it on the phone on a car, and trying to get it to work on mine, and I couldn't do it. And he said, just
plugged your phone on there, what's your phone saying?
Okay, I've got a basic EV,
Yeah.
so I don't think I've got a Kia Connect.
You've got a Kia Connect, all cars have got the Kia Connect, basic or top model.
Okay, in which case I tried to connect it to Kia Connect and I couldn't get my phone. I've got
so
Kia...
your phone's not connected to it, like
No.
why it's not doing what it's doing.
An enthusiastic young salesman offered to help me. This is his conclusion after 15 minutes of trying to get Kia Connect to work.
Right. That's weird. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to leave that with you. I'm just going to pop back in to service because it's saying that this car hasn't got Kia Connect. It might mean.
So it's interesting. The lady at the reception there said all cars have Kia Connect.
Have Kia Connect.
Okay, the salesman
Yeah.
said to me, this is a basic EV, it doesn't have Kia Connect.
Right.
So go back and check who's right.
Yeah. What year is this? I know it's.
Well, I bought it in the very last day in August.
Okay, so it's still
Within 3 months.
Yeah, so it's. Yeah, this is still the back panel. Yeah, it's the new e-Niro. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay. My next day trip was to Heathrow Airport, a distance of 120 miles each way. I drove from Newport in South Wales, dropping my passenger off, and looked for a break and a top-up charge on the way back. So here we are at the Newbury services, and there are 2 grid serve charges here. One is the one on the right hand side, looks as though it's got a long charge to go. He's around about 20%, and the other one on the left is at 72%. So hopefully he'll move off once he gets his 80%. We're going to have our lunch and wait for the slot. I always top up so that I can get home with a 20% tank or safety margin of about 40 to 50 miles. I'm going to stop it here at 50%, so I think that's enough to get us back to South Wales. What I'm going to do now is stop it. And that's it. And then disconnect it. And that's it back in there. And I'm just going to take a picture of the charge for my record. I learned to take a photo showing how many kilowatt hours charge I received, as there appears to be no other way of recording this information. I can then go back and look at it later. I then enter it into my EV charge mileage logbook. I created this after the first 6 weeks of videos, which some of you may have seen, and I just captured the basic information and the charge details. Once I discovered there's such a thing as transmission loss, I felt I needed to capture a bit more data. And so I've got the date, I've got the start charge, the finish charge. I thought maybe the duration after the charging the vehicle might be significant. So if I charged it immediately after driving it, or if there's a period of time after that. The temperature, I record that, and I just take the temperature off the car dash. And then I record the type of charge, whether it's home charging or service station fast charging. And then I also record the mileage. What we'll do is go back and discuss this later on, and I'll bring out the spreadsheets and we'll look at which factors actually affect the transmission loss or the charge loss process, and we'll discuss that. The young salesman returned after about 5 minutes. Success with another red herring served up by the Kia service desk.
From Kia, then.
Yeah.
So, like I say, because it might not carry the software currently, it might need to be updated. Do you have a USB or an SD card?
Okay, having gone to Newport Kia and met the young lad Callum, who was extremely helpful, he gave me this Kia service bulletin dated the 22nd of November. The audio visual navigation maps update, new platform dealer principle after sales. Insert the menu device containing the update files and try again. Okay, so for whatever reason it's not recognizing the USB here, and that is the USB point that Callum told me to do it. So I'm now going to go back to the computer, and having already checked that the file was on the insert device, I'm going to just check that again and see. Maybe I should just try and open it up. I then create a step-by-step video showing exactly what I'm seeing for Kidderminster. You know, I'm going to try and show you the problem that I'm hitting. So if I go to EV, settings have not been changed, try again later. And that's the problem that I've got. And I don't understand it. So next departure time is December the 8th at 1900 p.m. And where it's getting that from, I don't know. Today is Wednesday the 30th at 5:20 p.m. The difference between petrol and diesel refueling and electric vehicle charging is that petrol pumps have prominent displays of prices and EV chargers don't. The EV charging doesn't need a special stop at pumps. It is part of your journey stop time. We often stop for 30 minutes to an hour, plenty of time for a charge, but I do appreciate other people prefer a quicker turnaround. It's also worth looking more closely at an electric vehicle charger. Here is a grid-served charger you'll see on many of motorway services with step-by-step instructions on how to charge your vehicle. It's card payment at the charge point. You can then go in and get your coffee and pit stop and return to a charged car. Here I am back at the Kia dealership in Newport, and hopefully they're going to help me with this problem. They haven't responded to my email that was sent yesterday afternoon at about 2:30, and I can see somebody's looked at the video of the fault that I've sent them. I would have liked to have seen some kind of response, so I'm coming here to actually see if I can meet them and try and get the problem sorted. Oh well. The lady at the service desk got the impression I was a bit frustrated, which is exactly what I was, having gone in there on Wednesday with the problem. I was fobbed off with a piece of paper telling me about software that I needed to download that had absolutely nothing to do with the scheduled charging. It was all about the navigation system, and this car doesn't have the navigation. My navigation comes off the mobile phone. After speaking to the Kidderminster service sales agent, who've been absolutely top class in their support, I'm back in again this morning to Newport because they couldn't be bothered to answer my email that was sent yesterday at 2:30. So I was in there just after 10. A lot of running around, wasted time, etc. But I suppose for Newport it doesn't really matter, it's not their time. We're going up to Scotland on the 22nd of December, and we wanted to work out our route. We've decided that we'll stop almost as far as Glasgow at Abingdon, and I wanted to try and see what charges were there. So I've gone to ZapMap, and I know Abington's around here. These are all the charges everywhere. Abingdon, there we are. And we thought we might stay at Days Inn Abingdon, so there's some charges there. It tells me there are several that I can use, so I'm just going to connect on that. And that tells me that 22 kilowatt, 50 kilowatt. And to answer you, I'm happy with 22 kilowatt. I'm going to stay overnight. A slightly slower charge is good for the car battery. I also can check the payment method. It's 49p on a fast charge, which is one of these. These other ones here at 50 are rapid chargers, and they're 665p. But I'm happy with 49. If I'm staying overnight, I can pop out, put the car in charge, move away. And the fact it's contactless means I don't need to worry about downloading apps, etc. That's me back at e-Niro in Newport, and hopefully they're going to fix this scheduled charging issue. Oh well, I've got the loan of a Kia Niro EV. The only problem with it, it's only got 23% charge, and Chloe said she found it desperately embarrassing to find it hadn't been put on charge over the weekend. So I've now got an hour wait while the car charges. We had planned to go into Bristol today, and I do need a fully charged vehicle. I've still got to stand around here for an hour waiting for the thing to charge up. Oh well, I didn't get my electric hire car because it hadn't been put on charge overnight, and obviously it was very, very flat. After about 45 minutes or something like that, we looked at it and it's still at 50% charge. So they lent me this car, and I'm not particularly impressed with it, so I suspect we're going to go in our friend's car. We've driven past Birmingham and we're on the
M4 heading up north. The other thing that we've done, and just over here you can see everything is on the screen, and that's coming off the phone, which is down here. Again, point to it. Connected to it, and that all comes off the Google. On the top of the dashboard is the redundant mobile phone holder for the way we used to use the mobile phone to help us navigate, as you saw in the first video. So we're coming on, we're slowly evolving in what we do, and yeah, it's a learning curve.
It is 9 o'clock. There should be somebody there.
Morning, my six garage, Claire speaking.
Good morning, Claire.
Okay, do you know if it was Kelly or Chloe that was dealing with it?
I think they both know about it.
Both know about it? Okay, lovely. Right, if you just bear with me a second, let me just see if I can get through to one of them.
Thank you.
No problem.
We pride ourselves on...
Hello, Mr. Rattray.
Hello.
Hello, right, it's Chloe you need to speak to. She's not at the desk at the minute. So what I'll do, as soon as she comes back, I'll get her to give you a ring straight back.
Okay.
With an update for you. All right, lovely.
Thank you. I'd just like to know what's happening to it, because I know when I think I spoke to you 2 days ago, you hoped to get it done yesterday. I've heard nothing, so just...
Right, okay. So I'll get her, as soon as she's back at the desk, I'll get her to give you a call.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
What I find incredible about this was, prior to booking it in, at the time of booking it, I had to send them an email, and I sent them a link to the fault so that they could see the fault the same as Kia Kidderminster. And Kia Kidderminster's conclusion was you needed a factory reset. So all this information was with Kia Wessex Newport. Took it in on Monday. They appeared to have done nothing on Monday. It was Tuesday. They were able to tell me that their master technician had said that it needs a factory reset. So from my point of view, it was booked in for a factory reset based on Kia Kidderminster's analysis. So yesterday was Wednesday. One of the service desk team believed it would be done yesterday, but she wasn't 100% sure. Heard nothing yesterday, and here I am on Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. I phone, and the service desk tells me only Chloe knows what's going on. And here I am sitting, waiting again. I just think it's shambolic. So this is the 4th day my car is sitting at Kia Wessex in Newport.
One of the things we've been monitoring is how much we've got in the tank on the dashboard here in front of me compared to what the sat nav is telling us. So what we've been able to do is monitor what the difference is between the two. So we know our destination, and the sat nav is telling us how far we've got to go to our destination, and we then look at how much fuel we've got according to the gauge here, and that's been consistently sitting at 44 miles difference between the two readings, and that's reassuring. So whatever this, it's reassuring in that it's telling us that the reading on the gauge here is pretty accurate in terms of it's consistent with the miles we're actually getting.
Good morning, James Rattray.
Hello, Miss Chloe calling from Essex.
Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, good, okay. It broke up a little bit then. The car's going to be going to the workshop at the beginning of next week.
Sorry, the car's going to go into the workshop?
At the beginning of next week. We need to take all of the media unit and the dash and stuff out today, so it needs a complete strip back so we can factory reset it and put it back together, and the master tack's off tomorrow.
What I find amazing is the fault was sent to you on a video.
Yeah.
Kidderminster also looked at it. And so the car was booked in for a factory reset. And that was booked in on Monday. So you've had the car for a week, it will be. And you're only now going to put it in for the service that it was booked in for. Can you tell me why? Why is it taken so long? The phone then goes silent and I just sit there. Hello? I suspect they wanted me to hang up, but I thought, no, I'll just sit here, and I wondered how long it would go on for. Hello, are you there? You can see on the screen 5 minutes before they hung up. Okay, now what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to try and speak to a manager at Kia Wessex Newport and try and get an explanation from there. Obviously, the service department weren't prepared to explain what's happened. They haven't also tried to phone me back. I phoned back and asked Kia Newport's service desk if I can speak to a manager. I'm told he's unavailable, but they would ask him to call me.
The thing I really like about the one pedal driving is we're sitting in traffic nose to tail, and there's absolutely nothing I need to do other than press the pedal. And because it also engages the brake, it just means there's no gear changes, there's absolutely no hassle at all as we drive through all this heavy traffic. I also think it's good for the environment. You think of a normal car, the engine's running all the time and you're having to put it into gear and move it 3 inches forward and then into gear again. With this electric car, all I'm doing is touching the pedal, and if I want to stop, I just lift it off the ground and I'm stopped like this. Whoever wants one of these gear change cars again, whether it's automatic or not, this must be the way ahead. The time now is 11:45. And I still haven't had any response after asking to speak to the manager, so that's over 2 hours. What I'm going to do now is try and see if I can speak to somebody higher up in the Kia Wessex organisation. And the first thing I want to try and do is see where I can find somebody, because the phone system doesn't give me a choice of speaking to any management. I have to go through the different people within the organisation. So here I have sales, service, parts. I want to get directions. So how do I speak to a manager? I've actually asked. Okay, let me just go back now. I'm not going to bother with. Having failed to find a number I could call, I resorted to the online web chat box. I have my Kia Newport Kia garage. I have asked the service desk to put me through to a manager. It is now over 2 hours and I have still not had a response. How can I speak to someone in authority? Would I be able to take your telephone number, registration of the vehicle, and I can arrange the service manager to call you back? Well, we're waiting. We'll see how long that takes. My clock on here tells me it is 11:55. So let's see how long this takes. Brilliant. Answer. Hello?
Hello, I'm Mr. Radley. It's Owen calling from...
Sorry, just say that again.
It's bad line. It's Owen calling from Wessex, the workshop manager and service manager.
Hi, Owen.
Hiya. Toby asked me to give you a ring, just to give you sort of a bit of an update.
Well, yeah. Do you know the history of what's happened on the car?
I know, yeah. She did update me, so you got the issue while you're having with connecting with your... hang on, let me just grab the job card. 2 seconds. So that's why you was booked in for an investigation, which we investigated, and then you'd get rebooked then when there's time in the diary. We won't have, as you imagine, we have 40, 50, 60 cars booked in every day. And initially you booked in, and you booked in the diary just for a 1 hour investigation. And then we have to rebook the diary when there's hours available. So then we booked you now where there's 5 hours available for us to do the 5 hour, what we need to do on your vehicle.
Okay, well, obviously there's nothing else I can do other than let you know I feel let down.
That's fine. I understand your frustration. I get that. I do get that. But if there's, unfortunately, we have issues with availability of parts, and then we've got cars that have been on site for 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks, 3 months. So when their parts turn up and they come in with Kia, we have to get them vehicles done then within 3 days. So then obviously it's a juggling process as well. So this is why we keep our spare for repairing vehicles as well.
Okay.
So, well, I will give you a ring. I'll give you a ring on Monday rather than going through Chloe or Kelly. I'll give you a ring myself on Monday.
Yeah, and can you give me your name again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Owen.
Owen. Okay, Owen.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Mr.
Look forward to it. Bye. Oh well, there we are. £1 a charge.
Well,
We're going to have to go down the road. It's much cheaper
I'll tell
elsewhere.
you what, apparently, because some people up the road saw that, you see, they stopped, and they said Bridge-Aware Facebook is the main topic is the complaints about this charging points down in Bridge-Aware. They're always full, and people just plug them in and disappear, and sometimes even overnight.
Well, they
Leave the bloody cars there.
well, they should be fined.
Yeah.
It should work. And up and you know how
Who finds them?
the charge point. So the way it could work, when you charge it, it'll tell you how long the charge will take, 3 hours. And then what should happen automatically, it's longer than that, they should be £1 an hour or £5 an hour or something.
Yeah.
It's abuse of the system, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And apparently the Facebook is full of it. Absolutely full of it.
Well, Owen said he would call today and to let us know what's going on with the car. He called personally, and the time now is 4:20, so I'm not sure what time he's going to call, but we've been waiting for the call and for me to go in, and I know they close at 5:30, so it's cutting it a bit close if he wants me to pick up the car today. But anyway, sitting here, hoping, waiting, and all the rest of it. Having waited in all day yesterday for the phone call from Owen, the manager, as he promised, I'm having to phone in now to try and find out what's happening to the car. And it's 9:02, and let's just see what the latest is. Obviously, everything this garage is telling me they just don't do. You know, just appalling, really. They must be very busy, or, as I know already, they can recognize me calling in, and whether the service desk don't want to answer, one tends to have that suspicion that might be the case. Oh well, that's the end of that one. Let's try again. So let's go again. Oh well, that's the second time it's been hung up. It's obviously very clear they don't want to take my phone calls, as they seem to be ending the phone calls at their end, not my end. So I suppose what I've got to try and do now is find the Kia main dealership again, or the Kia Wessex dealership, to see if I can get somebody to speak to me. So got the car on charge down at Bridge-Aware, and oh, there you are, it's telling us charging station. Being in Scotland, I use Charge Place Scotland, the free Scottish government state-owned charging network. It entails a short walk to and from the village, but I'm quite happy to do this as it's saving me money. So I'm now back up at the house, and you can see it charging away here and it says it's been there for 37 minutes and we have put in 4.06 kilowatt. Thank you, Paisley or Renfrewshire Council. It's free of charge. Brilliant. So I can watch it from this end. To EV. I charged the Kia to 100%, ready for our drive south in the morning. I encounter the second fault I mentioned earlier that I have with my Kia, and I'll show it to you here. I say that because the charger on the outside is sort of showing blue. So on the inside it says it's stopped. And there's nothing underneath the car there saying it's a charge. Okay, so I assume I can disconnect it, and that's what I'll do next. So can I disconnect this? Yes, I can. Put these ports back in. I'm encountering this problem again, so I've charged the car, disconnected it, everything is here, and I put it into neutral and it won't go into reverse, it won't go forward. So let me just try and turn this off. Okay, it's coming up with this symbol again. Park vehicle. Nothing happens. That's exactly what's happened in previous occasions. And I can't actually move the car. Eventually it rights itself, but I don't actually know quite why. Parking engaged. Remove the parking. It says shift to P to start vehicle. But I've shifted it to P. Okay. I've had this before and nothing happens. I'm totally stuck. So what I'm going to do is go outside. Pressing the button to lock it, nothing happens. Press it to open, nothing happens. Okay, I'm going to go back on the inside. Okay, I'm going to remove the park. Gear is already selected. It just starts straight up again. Ah, got it. Suddenly went to reverse. Why that happens, I have no idea. Anyway, I'm in reverse.
Welcome to Wessex Garages. Because we are a customer-focused organisation, we record all of our calls. Please choose which manufacturer you are calling us about today. Please press 1 for Nissan, press 2 for Cardiff Penarth Road, press 3 for Gloucester, or press 4 for Newport.
Well, I think let me go to Gloucester and see if I can get through there.
Good morning, Wessex Service Department. Evan speaking. How can I help?
I'm trying to get through to the Newport service department.
Advise us using our live chat function. Plus, you can value your...
Hello, can I help?
Hello, good morning. Who am I speaking to?
It's Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. It's James Rattray. You've got my Kia vehicle in. It was meant to be worked on yesterday, according to Owen. I wondered what the update was.
As soon as Chloe's not on desk at the moment, she's with the customer. As soon as she gets back on desk, I'll have a chat with her and I'll get her to give you a call.
Who's that, Chloe?
Yes.
Okay, you don't know what's happening to it?
I don't, because you're on Chloe's list, so she got all the updates.
Okay, thank you. I'll wait for the call.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. How interesting. I had to go through Gloucester to get through. And that's still going around in circles. So that shows last time I was able to speak through that. So let's see what happens with Chloe. She wasn't at the desk.
To call first. He was obviously waiting for technical to come back to him, and they came back to him this morning now, obviously, with the wrong vehicle. So, like I said, he needs to reach out now to someone from Mobis this morning, get a bit more information to see what he can do.
Okay.
When you put a case down to technical to let them know what's going on. They'll give you points to do before you need to strip the vehicle back and obviously factory reset it to see if there's something that they can do before doing that.
Okay.
So that's why he's in process of doing it at the minute.
Okay, because when I spoke with Owen on Thursday, the service manager, he told me it was booked in yesterday for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And
he did have it in the workshop yesterday, but like I said, he put it down to technical and they've come back with the wrong vehicle, so we just need to see what's going on with it.
okay.
Okay?
Okay, so you'll phone me later on, will you, and update me?
Yeah, I'll give you a call later on. I'm just going to leave myself a little note as well, just so I don't forget.
Okay, thank you very much.
Alright?
Thanks,
That's
Zoe.
okay, no problem.
Cheers,
Thanks for being
bye.
so patient.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Okay, we've driven all the way through from Glasgow, and obviously it's a very wintry day today, and it's quite interesting seeing how the car operates, and in all honesty it's gone very, very well, and I like it. The cabin's warm and everything else, and when we started out we had over 200 miles of charge in the battery, and that's more than enough for us to stop to the next charge point. And we're going to stop at the motorway services, and for the first time I'm not actually planning the stop, because our experience of driving up to Scotland was that all the motorway services have charge points, and so I'm going to stop when I've got something like 60-50 miles, something like that, still in the battery, and I'll stop at the first one. That'll be over 2 hours driving, and if it's available I'll charge it. If it's not available, it looks busy or whatever reason, I'll go on to the next service station.
Because it sounds as though they've done absolutely nothing with the vehicle. So let me just be at Kia, and I'm going to hopefully pick up the car that doesn't had any work done on it. Oh well, here I am. Let's just see if my car's around. Come back to collect the car, as it appears no work's been done on it, but we'll see what actually happens when I get in here. Well, it appears that the car is stripped down, and they did do the work yesterday, even though that information wasn't passed to me this morning, and they can't give me the car to take away. They are waiting on Movis, and this guy tells me he is the service manager, Chris. So Owen wasn't the service manager that I spoke to on Thursday. He was Chris's assistant. So the latest is they'll phone me once Movis, they're aware there's a technical issue on the car, and they work out what they'll do, as the car is stripped down and I can't take it away. As I made the point to Chris, if only he could have told me that, or let Chloe at reception, the receptionist, know this, it would have saved me coming in and getting the information. All very frustrating.
So we're stopping at Southwaite. It worked when we're heading north. We've got 65 miles of charge still left in the car, and that should see us, if T-Bay doesn't have enough charges, that should see us, give us enough options. So I'm not going to charge anymore. It's up to 81%, so I'm going to press stop, and hopefully that will stop it. Okay, that's it, stopped. And so what I'll now do is take a photograph of the screen. My regret is that I didn't ask to get something from the car, and I could at least have looked at it, because I don't honestly believe anything. It appears that the service manager I spoke to on Thursday was in fact the deputy service manager, not the service manager. His name is Owen, and this one's name is Chris, and this one tells me he is the service manager. I don't know what to believe and not to believe, other than I'm definitely being messed about. He'll call me back later today, we'll see. I said I'd talk about losses when charging the Kia's battery, so-called transmission losses. All electric batteries and all makes of electric vehicle have these losses when charging.
I've collected 3 months of figures from November to February for my Kia, and we'll go through these now. My charging strategy is to top up the vehicle up to 80% whenever the charge drops below 50% at home. For long drives, I always start at 100% and try and get back home with about 20% charge. So now looking at these figures, I've organized the figures into 2 sheets. These here are from November through to the end of December, and I have a mix of home charging and motorway charging on day trips, and then obviously the long one up to Scotland. And then the next one is January and February, and these are all home charges. So let's look at the figures and see what conclusions we can actually draw from them. We've got the date, we've got the start charge and the finish charge. You'll see the odd one at 100, 100, 100 for the long drives. And then I've got the battery equivalent. So if you take it from 52 to 80, the battery equivalent is 17.92 kilowatts. And at this end is the actual charge that was put in, 22.03. So there's some wastage there, and that gives me the loss, or the transmission loss. I've done that calculation all the way through. So let's go over and look at the January figures. And here, everything is being charged at home. Everything is being taken up to 80%. Sometimes I'm a bit more precise because it only goes to 79, but it's really charged to 80%. And this is the charge. And then over here is the transmission loss. And this is the charge that the charger tells me I put in. So again, you can look at this. This average of transmission loss works out at 21.25%. And I think this is a more realistic figure because the other one has a combination of motorway service stations and rapid chargers and everything else. Looking at what affects the transmission loss, it's very difficult to draw any real hard conclusions because this is 36 hours between driving, and it tells me the transmission loss is around about 10.6%. And then this is 3 hours after driving, etc. 10 hours after driving, transmission loss 26, 22. It's much of a muchness. If you look at the temperature, you know, we've got 12 degrees, we go down to -4 degrees. And again, if we go across and look at the -4 degrees, transmission loss 27.8. And it's very similar. So I can't draw any hard conclusions by the temperature or the hours after driving. The transmission loss seems to vary. I suppose the next question is how accurate are the meters that measure it, and I don't know the full answer to that.
So they know of an issue, so you're not the only person to have this issue.
Right.
They know there's an ongoing issue with them. There's not an update out for it as yet, but they're going to send someone from Kia head office, from Petrol, down to look at your car. But they said it's not going to be until January. What they said was, if it charges okay in the morning, after we've left it overnight, you can have it back and you can use it. And then they want us to book it back in sort of beginning of January, middle of January, for the guy from Kia Technical to come and look at your car specifically.
Okay. So, okay.
So,
Yep.
is that okay?
Yep.
So long as it charges, so first thing in the morning, now we'll put it on charge. So as long as it charges okay in the morning,
Yeah.
you can have it back, use it as normal. They are aware of the issue, so they're working on either an update or they know about it. So they're going to send the head man from Kia down then to look at your car.
Thank you.
So I'll give you a ring in the morning.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the call.
Okay,
Take
no
care.
problem, no
Cheers.
problem.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye. I just want to cover a couple of facts before we move away from charging and transmission losses, etc. Remember, the average electric car will have 90% of its charging done at home. Looking at my own figures, I've had 61 charges since I bought the vehicle at the end of August. And of those, 16 of these have been away from home on long trips. So therefore, my average is 75% of charges at home. But you have to remember, I'm retired, and that means I don't have the daily commute. So I do think the 90% charging at home is realistic. So you don't have to go to a petrol pump or anywhere else. Mev202 under my last video said one small thing about transmission loss. A litre of fuel is about 18% efficient in pushing the vehicle forward. So we're losing 20% when we charge the battery on the car, but it's 80% efficient compared to 20% efficient when looking at a diesel or petrol car. I find that quite interesting.
Okay, so we're driving in to Kia Newport to collect the electric car. Chris yesterday, when he phoned, said if they would put the car on charge for us. Of course, there's been no communication from Kia Wessex Newport, and so we're hoping it's going to be ready for us. No reason why it shouldn't be. It's only going to have a charge, and yeah, so it should be there. We'll see what happens when we get there.
Well, we come back to Kia to collect the car. I just hope it's available. Just going to check. Charges are over here. I can see ours is over here. It's over here, Kathy. Oh, it is on charge. Yeah, it looks as though it stopped charging. There's no light on. Wonder how long it's been sitting there, fully charged, waiting on I don't know what. But that just reflects the whole setup of this place. No attention to detail. Well, got the keys and we'll unplug it ourselves and go home. So I don't know how long it's been sitting there, but that's how it is. At least we've got it and we're on the way. Yeah, it just needs more organisation, this place. I don't know how long it's been sitting on charge. I don't know if they ever intended to look at it and check it for us.
Well, I have to say, it's fantastic having the car back again. It's so easy to drive compared to an ordinary car with 5 gears.
I promised you my wish list for the Kia Niro EV engineers to work on for the next upgrade. I have 7 items and in no particular order. First item is the rear view camera.
This back camera always seems to get exposed to anything that's going, any rain, whatever. There must be a better way of protecting it. The thing gets dirty all the time. It's a little bit more exposed, and I'd ask the engineers to try and improve that.
The second item is having the clock in a position that can be easily seen when driving the car.
There is no clock up here, and one thing you do need when you're driving is a clock, and then you over here to the navigation, and again no clock. Oh, it's down in the bottom right. Sometimes it'd be nice to have a nice prominent clock on the actual dashboard.
The third item is the navigation screen. It goes dark in good light.
When you're navigating and you've got the dark navigation thing at the bottom here, it makes it actually quite hard to see. If there was a way that we could adjust it, or I would argue that this shouldn't go dark until outside really is dark, because at least you can still see the dash in the dark. And the only reason I would think to make it go not bright is so it doesn't shine in your eyes, and that's a lesser problem than when you can't see it as it is now and it's daylight outside.
The fourth item, I'd like to be able to set the one pedal drive mode permanently on, and that would be a lovely option instead of having to remember each time to put it on. The fifth item, the design of the tail end means it catches all the dirt.
The back of the car has quite a fancy detail trim, and part of the problem with it is it gets quite dirty. It's got these vents down the side. I presume that's for wind resistance, I don't know. It's got quite a large overhang over the back here, and that causes a dirt trap in my experience of driving the car. And I'm not quite sure why they do that. Maybe it's to make the car look different, but from a practical point of view, it's a bit of a pain in my experience. Anyway, there may be reasons behind it, I don't know, but that's my point.
The sixth item is the black trim. It shows all the dirt.
In the summer, our friend who's got a ID 3 or 4 or whatever they are, was saying how fantastic his car is in that he doesn't have to wash it. And one of the things I'd say to Kia is, you've got this fancy black trim. I've just washed this car, and you can see, if this camera will go where I want it to go, all along here, even though I washed it and rinsed it, the black shows up the dirt. And yeah, do we really need that black trim? Why not just keep it one colour? Got the black trim on the outside, but also the inside there's black trim, which means it shows every little bit of dirt that's around. And it's a pain if you want a clean car. I would have thought they could choose a colour that doesn't actually show everything up, and just think about the maintenance or how the car looks for the driver or the user. And the 7th item is a hole in the armrest in the back seat. That's a very useful function. The armrest is brilliant. I love it. Great for the passengers in the back. Again, a little wish list. If that just had a hole in it, it would just help a little bit more for those long items you have to carry on occasions. But as I say, maybe grades above this car has that, I don't know. Finally, where am I with the 2 faults? The scheduled charging issue and the inability to engage the drive after some of the charges. Not surprisingly, I'm not going to risk losing my car again by putting it into Kia Newport. I'm now in discussion with the Kidderminster after sales manager, who will book my Kia into their workshop when they have everything necessary to do the work and remedy the issues. Regarding the terrible customer service I received at Kia Newport, I contacted Kia Chief Executive Paul Philcott, who said, "I was disappointed to hear about your experience with your Kia e-Niro. I've passed your email to a senior member of our customer service team, and this is our discussion on the phone." Sorry, say that again?
I believe you wanted to call back regarding your case.
Yeah.
My name's Kim.
I sent a video and a breakdown of the experience that I had at Wessex, Newport Wessex. Have you looked at the video?
We haven't as of yet, because the information is good to the dealership and they've got technical experts available to review it all, which is why we've suggested that, because Wessex have communicated with their in-house technical department, it's best to carry out the repairs with them. If you're not happy with that, you can take it to another dealership, but they would have to start the whole process again for you, Mr. Petrol.
Okay, so you don't actually know what I'm complaining about, do you?
Well, we've looked at the whole case. I've reviewed it with my manager as well.
Okay, so you've looked at the level of service.
Yep, which is why we've passed the feedback on to the relevant department to review internally.
Okay, because obviously I know you're saying they're franchisees and you're the franchisor. Is that the level of service you would expect?
So we expect all of our Kia dealerships to offer a high level of service. We understand occasionally this doesn't go as expected, which is why we've taken your feedback on board and reviewing it internally with the relevant managers on site to try and rectify the concerns for you.
Because it would appear to me, they didn't answer telephone calls, they didn't phone me back when they promised. The vehicle, they couldn't tell me how long the vehicle was in there for. It stayed in there for a total of 10 days, when any reasonable dealer, in my view, would have taken 2 days. And, I don't want to go back to that dealer, and you're telling me I should, but I don't believe that level of service that I got there reflects well on Kia or anyone else, any garage. They couldn't tell me what was happening to my vehicle. So you're suggesting I go back to them, and for me to lose my vehicle again for an extended period, or potentially lose it again, because I see nothing within that dealership that gives me any confidence. When I asked to speak to the manager, I was through to somebody who claimed to be the manager, and in fact he wasn't. So I just found the whole, and I'm surprised that, you know, you're just telling me to go back to them.
So we recognise your comments and frustration. The only reason we recommend is staying with them is because they've already started the report and diagnosing your vehicle with our in-house technical experts. If you don't want to go back to Wessex, that's not a problem. You can go to another Kia local dealership, but we have to make you aware that the whole diagnosis process will start again, so this could delay your vehicle being repaired.
Yeah, but you know, but the potential in my mind I've got